Today's video is brought to you by Vite Ramen. Vite Ramen is an amazing combination of healthy, delicious, and affordable noodles. I've been partnered with Vite Ramen for a long time, but if you guys still haven't tried the product out, now's a good chance. Not only does Vite Ramen now offer international shipping, but there's also now an exclusive Eckhart's Ladder flavor. That's right, I made my own ramen flavor. We actually worked on this for a very long time. It's Massaman curry. It's really unique, and I sent back so many test flavors until we got it just right, so it comes highly recommended. For real, Vite Ramen is a great company. I know it can be hard to eat healthy, but with Vite Ramen, you have a tasty and accessible alternative to fast food. Right now, you can use my code Eckhart's Ladder and the link down in the description to get 10% off your order. And I just want you guys to give me your feedback. In my experience, people who have tried Vite Ramen are almost universally positive about it. So I look forward to your experiences. Again, that's the link down in the description and code Eckhart's Ladder for 10% off. Consider trying out my new flavor because it is the best one. With that being said, we've got a bit of an interesting story today, and this is actually from Star Wars Legends. Some people, for whatever reason, have the belief that Star Wars canon introduced the idea of female stormtroopers to Star Wars lore. That's actually not the case. Although every stormtrooper that we hear from, at least in the original trilogy, is male and they all sound fairly similar, in the lore there have actually been female Imperial stormtroopers for a very long time. There are a few sources I want to pull from for this video. The first would be the Imperial Handbook, a commander's guide. This has an entire section on the Stormtrooper Corps, and the first few pages alone recognize that women could serve when it says that stormtroopers are made up of the best men and women in the galaxy. Now, initially, stormtroopers were made up of Kaminoan clones, and in Legends especially, clones were fairly common in the stormtrooper ranks for a very long time, and in fact, the original batch of clones were actually supplemented by other clones from other cloning methods. These, however, were not as successful as, say, the Republic's clone troopers, and as time went on, more and more clones were supplemented and eventually replaced by recruits from Imperial planets. There would have been, at the height of the Empire at least, this changed somewhat after the death of Palpatine, a requirement that stormtrooper recruits be human. However, there was not actually a requirement that they be male, and in fact, the Empire didn't actually distinguish based on sex whatsoever. That being said, female stormtroopers were still a relatively rare sight. The stormtrooper requirements were again somewhat arbitrary, and there was no difference for men or women. For example, stormtrooper recruitment officially required candidates to have a height of at least 5 feet 9 inches, which according to some websites I found would limit this to 5 to 10% of real world women. Now obviously things could be different in the Star Wars universe, and as we'll see, it seems like as time went on some of these rules were bent somewhat. Additionally, stormtroopers were required to be at least 170 pounds, and there was also a musculature strength test which may have been harder for women to meet. That being said, women definitely did meet this requirement, or the requirements were sometimes waived, and as I've been saying throughout this video, once in the Stormtrooper Corps, especially when in uniform and in combat, female stormtroopers were basically identical and identically treated to male stormtroopers. One reason why it's impossible to tell how many female stormtroopers were in the original trilogy, for example, is because there was actually no difference in armor, and I'm going to break a lot of your nerd hearts right now. Boob armor is not real. It doesn't serve a functional purpose. Women could wear regular stormtrooper armor just fine. This takes me to my next work, and it's the Essential Guide to Warfare. Alongside having lots of nice bit of history and lore, the Essential Guide to Warfare also has these interview style texts, sometimes like journal entries, and the one I'm referring to now is from the perspective of a female stormtrooper. It's called A Female Stormtrooper Remembers and is from Zyla Drutch of the 291st Legion. She describes how, despite not having the physical gifts of some others within the Imperial military, she was nonetheless very successful during training and chose an army concentration and was eventually assigned to the elite Karita Academy. It seems like because of her smaller size, she actually received more rigorous physical testing, but was nonetheless chosen for stormtrooper duty. And this is what I'm talking about, waiving the rules somewhat. The Imperial Handbook notes that the rules were an attempt to match clones' specifications by up to 95%. It seems to me that if a candidate doesn't meet in one criteria, as long as they can make up for it or otherwise still prove to be effective, there's no reason why they they couldn't still serve. Anyway, Drutch did successfully graduate and became Stormtrooper TD 4388. The Legion she was placed in had at least 2 other females, TD 5144 and TD 1123. This actually seems like really low numbers. A Legion is most likely thousands of individuals, and she also specifies that she had no other females in her company, but also that they were still effective in their own right. Female Stormtroopers received no special privilege. They didn't have their own barracks. There were, of course, as far as we know, no female clones, and women did more frequently wash out in the training and recruitment process. But once behind the armor, most people, especially civilians, would have no idea they were standing near a female Imperial Stormtrooper. The memoir ends with a somewhat funny story. The Stormtroopers were in a cantina and there was a poster with a pin-up Stormtrooper. Her squad mates asked her if she had the wrong armor, and she said that she didn't need 2 years at Kurita to know that having an exposed midriff and giant gravity well projector looking boob plate armor is not the most effective in battle. So yeah, that's how Imperial Stormtroopers were generally thought of and treated by the Empire. That's all I have for today though, guys. Is there something else you'd like to see more of? Want me to cover a specific topic? Let me know all of that and more down below. Make sure you subscribe, like this video, and click somewhere on screen for more. Until next time, be safe, have a good one, may the Force be with you.